we need help as humans when you're not around during the holiday and Christmas season to believe in a better life or believe in ourselves or believe in other human beings and believe in humanity. What can we do? What can be the analogy for you have your bells and we hear that bell, it means we can believe.
It means we can believe. It also has another meaning.
Yeah.
There's another movie out there where Clarence got his wings, which Clarence was an angel.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Right, It's a Wonderful Life. Every time the bells, you hear a bell ring, an angel got their wings. And if you can believe that, and you can believe in the magic of Christmas, well, then you're almost there.
You can believe in yourself.
You can believe in yourself.
We have the most special guest that we've ever had for the Necessary Entrepreneur. So with this being such a busy time of year in December, my first statement is we want to thank Santa Claus for coming and spending time. You know how busy you are this time of year. So thank you for giving us a couple hours of your time today.
Well, Mark, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be here. My goodness. And I brought you a little something. I checked my list and I found out what list you were on, and I was able to bring you a candy cane.
Thank you, Santa.
But it's a big candy cane.
So what does this indicate about the list that I'm on, personally?
Well, you've had a few rough moments there. Remember that day back in August? I think it was August 3rd to be exact. What was it you did?
I remember.
So what does that mean? Does that mean I'm slanting towards the naughty list?
Well, you kind of slid right past it there. You're on the other list.
Okay, so I'm on the other list. All right.
Yeah.
So is the other list the nice list?
Well,
The
no.
major naughty list?
Well,
Okay.
It's just the other. We just refer to it as the other list.
So what I want to do is so we can get on to the questions for all the folks and all the kids and all us adults have for 2023 because we're really close to it.
Okay.
So I think Christmas every year, the way that we see it is it's an accumulation of the entire previous year. If there's a naughty and a nice list, it's a grade on how well we did. Did we do great things to the world? Do we make impact? So there's a naughty and a nice list, but also what I'd like to know, since I did such a bad job in 2022, I'm a guy that focuses on improvement.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know in 2023 how and what I can do better. So I'm going to have a lot of self-reflection. But in 2023, if I'm sliding towards the naughty list like I did this year, how can I know throughout the year which list I'm most likely going to show up on so I can make some changes? How can I do that?
Well, you do have a direct line to me now.
Okay.
So I guess you could just make a call.
But from the sounds,
but that's something I know that you're not that good at because you like the text message, and you don't really make a lot of calls. So that's one thing you could work on is making more calls.
I'm going to make more calls.
Right, and particularly those ones like who you love, that some of them have felt slighted this year. So you need to maybe go out and maybe do the Mr. Scrooge scenario. And you could go out and maybe buy a goose or something and invite them over for dinner. That's what Christmas is all about. It's about family and friends coming together. So that might help push you back onto the nice list.
Okay. So, but can I help you? Because I don't know how good Santa is with technology. Because you're still flying a sleigh. And it looks like the sleigh has been here for a long time. Now, I don't want to insult Santa Claus because I would never do that. But we need to input some new technology. So if I could have an app, my wish for 2023, I'd like to have an app that gives me a consistent rating about how I'm doing throughout the year.
That's a great idea. You can make it for me. With the help of the elves, of course.
Guys, so hey, as we talk about elves, so I'm in the business. We have this business of real estate here. So I'm always looking to hire great realtors. So how do you make a decision on when you find great elves?
Well, I have a lot of people wanting to be an elf. So we go through a whole interviewing process. Number one, they must be able to eat lots of candy because that's what they get paid. We pay them in candy and cookies. That's what they prefer. They don't want dollars. You know, in fact, we tried using money at one point, and Uncle Sam got mad at me because I had my face on the U.S. dollar. Just did not work. But you know, they have to be able to eat candy. They have to be loving and hard workers, kind of like Elon Musk has said to his workers that he wants them to be able to put in the hours. And the elves put in long hours. I mean, like right now, the Xavier 2000, that's what makes the blue bicycles. Well, that machine went down last week, and the elves, they had to jump in there and make all those bicycles by hand. So you got to be able to, you know, put in the hours, put in the time, and be mechanically inclined.
So, have the elves ever threatened to unionize on Santa and Mrs. Claus?
Did they ever? Oh, my goodness. They wanted to get more candy and more cookies. So we eventually had to give in, and they didn't unionize. So, you know, but that was all about the time that the Grinch was around, too. I think he was involved in that little movement.
That kind of makes sense. So what the elves, you pay them in candy and cookies. So often we have been trained to leave you cookies and milk when you come.
Uh-oh.
Do you actually like cookies and milk?
Now you know the truth. Well, I do eat some of the cookies.
Okay.
But sometimes I'm a sharing individual, so I take the cookies back for the elves.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you were able to choose the flavor and type of cookie, so we could do a better job, what's the best type of cookie for us to leave out for you this time of year?
I really like chocolate chip, but then I like peanut butter cookies too. Ooh, oatmeal raisin. You ever have an oatmeal raisin cookie? Oh my goodness, they are so yummy. And Mrs. Claus has been making this new cookie. It's got macadamia nuts, cranberries in it, and white chocolate. And it's kind of like a sugar cookie. Oh, they are just, divine. I love them. And, you know, I just like a plain Oreo sometimes, too. I don't really think I have a favorite cookie. I think I just eat them all.
Sounds like Santa has a sweet tooth.
Do I ever?
How does Mrs. Claus counter that? Because you need to be healthy. What does she do to try to...
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Claus. Yeah, she's always pushing those vegetables. And, you know, I've noticed something this year, too, with the children. I've noticed some children, they might be like this tall, and I go and visit them, and now they're like this tall. They grow a whole head. And what I've discovered is that they grow that whole head when they're eating their vegetables. So you really should eat your vegetables because it really does help you to grow. And Mrs. Claus, she's good about pushing those vegetables on me.
She's keeping you safe and healthy.
That's her job.
So you can be with us this time of year. So, hey, what do you do 10 months out of the year? We should think about, you're such an awesome person. We should think about you 12 months out of the year. But we kind of lose track of Santa after the new year. What are you doing during those 9 or 10 months that we aren't thinking or focusing on Santa?
Do you realize how many toys are required to fulfill the need around the world? What am I doing those 10 months? Working. But then again, Mrs. Claus and I, we've started this new habit. On December 26th, when I get back, she's already packed. She has the suitcases ready to go. And we go on a cruise. Yeah, we go out and jump on a cruise ship, and we go have some fun for at least 2 weeks. And then we come back and get back to the grind.
So 2 weeks is all you get off?
2 weeks.
Wow. So what are the elves during? You know, a lot of times, you know, when the boss is away, the elves will play.
Well, that's what Bernard's for. Bernard takes care of the elves while I'm gone. And he makes sure they're working. But I tell Bernard, too, to give them a little slack time. Let them have a little fun. And that's when we usually hold our reindeer games. That's a 3-week period that we'll have. That way Santa gets there for the finals. And they'll be working on the reindeer games. And that's a lot of fun for them. It's kind of like football and jumping and playing. And they just have a good time. And, you know, the senior management, the senior elves, they're still looking at production and saying, what do we need? That's their planning stage time. So it kind of gives them a chance that everybody else is out and about, and they can be there and plan and get things done right.
So 2 questions from that. So number one, if we don't let the reindeer listen to this, can you tell us which one's your favorite?
Well, I got to really say, there's the team. I don't know if you know this. There's not just 8 reindeer, but I have hundreds of reindeer. And throughout the years, I've had, you know, numerous reindeer come and go due to attrition. I'd have to say, probably my most favorite reindeer of all, isn't that, well, I can't say that, but he's not the favorite. It would be Chet.
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 Why?
Because Chet, jumped in when I needed him. You probably saw it on TV even. When I needed to save Christmas, Chet was there. He was just a baby reindeer at the time. And he has really come into his own now. And he's a phenomenal reindeer. And he actually leads the sleigh unless there's actually a problem with weather. And then that famous reindeer comes along, Rudolph, and he leads the sleigh.
So what does Rudolph think about Chet?
Well, Chet and Rudolph actually don't get along.
Ooh.
But that's, we don't remember, we can't really, you're not publishing this, right?
We're not going to let them hear this.
Okay. Well, Rudolph thinks that he's the most famous reindeer of all, and he is very famous, but it's kind of went to his head. So
I hate when the top performer, I hate when they have a big ego and it goes to their head.
Yeah, and Rudolph's got an ego, all right. It lights up the world.
Hey, so we're talking about lighting up the world. Santa, what do you think about all these Christmas lights?
Well, some people think the more lights they have, the easier it is for Santa to find their house. Mm-hmm. Well, I got some news for you. I love the Christmas lights, but I can find your house anyway because I have Sleigh PS.
See, there is new technology.
There's technology.
Okay, so you don't use the old-fashioned map anymore.
Oh, let me tell you a story about that. Well, Hermie, now you remember Hermie from Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer? He wanted to be a dentist. Yeah. Well, Hermie had a son, and all he wanted to do was be my navigational elf. And one year, oh my goodness, we were flying, and oh my goodness, the map just flew away and it ripped. And Hermie didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to he was trying out for this new job, and so he just kept going. And so he told me, "All right, Santa, we're back home. It's down there, right?" And we looked down. Rudolph lit it up. It was all white. And wouldn't you know, we come in for a landing, and instead of being a nice smooth landing, we come in with a thud, 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 thud. And I'm like, "What happened?" And then we run in the water. Well, it turns out we were on America's prettiest beach, Siesta Key Beach, down there in Florida. And we landed there, and I was like, oh, my goodness, I can't believe this. Oh, but I want Hermie to run away like his father did. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I reached in my magic bag. Now, you know my magic bag. I can pull out anything I want. So I reached in and I pulled out a fishing pole. I cast out my line, and I went out there, and I caught myself a 200-pound tarpon. And it was a prize-winning tarpon. And I said to Hermie, I said, you know what, Hermie? I'm glad you brought us here. This is such a great place. And I picked up the red phone and I called Mrs. Claus. I said, Mrs. Claus, we're not taking a cruise this year. We're going to go to Siesta Key Beach in Florida. And we're going to spend a week or so there. And she was like, oh, I haven't been there.
You know what I love about that? I think the story that Hermie and Santa and Mrs. Claus and Rudolph and everybody can teach us is even when a plan goes awry, there's still a silver lining and great things that can come from it.
That's very true, Mark.
Right?
Very true.
So,
Mark,
yes.
The meter just went off. You jumped the whole point. Keep going.
Okay, this is good. We're going to see what we can accomplish here. I'm going to let everyone know, hey, the production team, if I get to the naughty list, you all need to recognize that and describe it. I'm not saying I'm trying. I'm just trying to do good in the world. Mm-hmm. But if I achieve it, you guys actually have to get me a present this year. Santa?
I thought we were trying to get you to the nice list.
Well, we are, but what happens is...
But you're going to settle for the naughty list.
Yeah, no, so it's so hard for me to get to the nice list that when I do, they've been waiting for so long, they're saying they're actually going to get me a gift. Because they're
and you believe that?
I do believe it, and here's why I believe it, because you haven't been giving me gifts because I've been on the naughty list. And so they felt so bad for me. I'm not saying it's your fault.
I just brought you a gift.
Well... I'm probably going to give this to someone else because I care more about them than myself.
Okay. That's a good point. Another point.
Another point?
Another point.
So they've always promised me if I become nice enough to get on your nice list, and I might not get on it soon enough to get a gift, but they said that they're going to make up for it. And so I just want to remind them that there's a chance of that happening today.
Okay.
Okay. So how many gifts? They're only going to get me one, I think. But how many gifts should we put on our list for Santa as adults? So kids are allowed to put any number of gifts. How many should we be limited
Whoa,
to?
whoa. Hold on there a minute. Where did you get that from?
Well, because I can just see sometimes my nieces and my nephews and all the kids that I'm around, they receive a lot of gifts from you.
Oh, yes, they do.
So they must not have been limited in the quantity they were able to ask
Well,
for.
actually, when I sit down with a child, I usually say to them, give me your top 3. And probably you're only going to get 1. Because the problem is, if we give children everything they ask for, they'll never work for anything. So Santa doesn't want to contribute to that. And I've got a little secret to tell you. I usually only give 3.
That's what you give.
And I think that the parents are supplementing.
Is that what's happening?
I think so.
Okay, so we're going to blame the parents for this
I'm
idea.
not blaming, I'm just stating fact.
You would never do it.
No.
You state fact. I will blame them, you state fact, about this sense of entitlement that we've gotten to in this amazing society that we live in now.
It is an amazing society. I'll
It
give
is.
you that.
It seems like it's better than when I was a kid.
Oh, it is.
So what can you do?
It's better than 300 years ago, too.
Way better than 100 years ago, right? So what can you do to try to instill in us a sense of appreciation, a sense of just basic happiness, or a sense of just paying it forward and doing good things for the world?
Well, I don't think it's what I can do. That actually comes back on you. It's what can you do. Do you know the greatest thing of all in life is giving a gift, not receiving a gift? When you give a gift, that just warms your heart. Look at the Grinch. How did his heart grow 10 sizes? Easily, he gave a gift. And he recognized the power of gift giving and the power of love. And that's Christmas in a nutshell.
So there's so many principles we can take from that. So what do there's this big question I had to ask. So everybody saw your sleigh land. It was going kind of slow. You know, we're next to the Cincinnati airport here, and we're used to seeing planes come in really fast. But it's really foggy out today.
It sure was.
Right? And so, you know, Hermie was kind of concerned about, he had that issue in Siesta Key. And so he was making sure the same thing didn't happen here. But so I had some time, and I walked around our building here and said, hey, what are some questions? Santa's coming in. What are some questions you would ask? And they said, well, is it really Santa that's going to be here? And I said, yes. So for the people that don't believe that you're real, what do you tell them?
Well, Mark, touch my hand. Does that feel real to you?
Felt real to me.
Well, then I think I'm real.
So how can we convey that to others in these moments of doubt? Because we have a problem in believing in ourselves as human beings as well.
Well, you know, if you believe in Santa Claus, great things come. You know, and, you know, I know a lot of parents tell their kids this. Well, if you don't believe, you're not going to get any presents. And it's kind of very true.
So what's that tell us about our lives, about believing in ourselves?
Well, if you believe in yourself, you can become successful. If you don't believe in yourself, you know, you won't. What's the old adage that Abraham Lincoln said? If you ask, no, it was Ben Franklin said it, I think. If you ask for a penny, life will give you a penny. So be careful what you ask for in life.
Mm-hmm. That was probably awesome. I wish I was you and I got to know Benjamin Franklin. That was probably that conversation you had with him about that penny.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, good guy. So what do you think about all these people that are imposters that act like you?
Well, they're not imposters.
What are they?
They're helpers. They're out there to help Santa. You know, it is hard traveling the whole world and getting around. Like, you know, I'm very busy right now. I took the time out to come see you. I have to pick and choose. But I can't go everywhere. So I have some men, and they help me out. You know, they go and, you know, and we call them the secret of Santa. All right, that they know the secret of Santa is that they're working for me. And you never know when you're with the real Santa. You really don't know, for sure.
You've made me believe today.
Well, that's good.
Okay. So
5 more points.
Okay, good. How many more points do I have to go here as we
I can't tell you that.
Oh wow. Okay, we're going to keep going. All right. So just so you know, we're going to keep going until I get there. But if I ever give a point back, I'll accept that this just isn't my year because I'm working so hard to get there. So tell us about it. You know, we have this idea, my favorite Christmas movie, it's not Santa Claus. It's actually Polar Express.
Ah.
So is Polar Express an indication of the North Pole? Isn't an indication of reality?
Well, let's see. Can you hear that?
I can hear it.
Well, then you're a believer. Can everybody else out there hear that? I'll do it again.
Yep. We can hear it.
All right. Well, then we got a lot of believers on here. And if you can hear the bells, you're a believer. If you don't hear the bell, you know what goes there.
What should be our bell of life? That January through November, when you're not here inspiring us and making us look at the good in life, what needs to be our bells?
So you're looking for a New Year's resolution then?
No, I'm actually looking in something to make us believe in, the rest of our year. Because you do such a good job in making us believe in things that we can't see right in front of us.
Well, Mark, do you have children?
I do not.
Okay.
But I have a lot of nieces and nephews.
And that would be the once you have a child, then you really understand the spirit of Christmas. Because there's nothing you wouldn't do for that child. And since you don't have children, you do for your nieces and nephews. Well, what can we do to make Christmas better? Well, I happen to know there's a bunch of Marines out there that could use your help with Toys for Tots. So contribute toys there. If you know of a family in the neighborhood, go ahead and just, adopt that family. Find out what the number one gift is the child wants and give it to them. Those are ways that you can help. Because remember, Christmas is about love. If you can spread love, you can do great things.
What do we do? So I think that's awesome advice. Santa isn't just about gifts and producing blue bicycles and...
No, we do red ones too.
Do you really? I never got one of those red ones. So
I wonder why.
I don't know. Maybe I've been battling this list my whole life, Santa. You know what? Next time, if you come next year, if this ends up being good enough, I wonder if Mrs. Claus would give me more grace and, rank me a little higher on my list, because Santa's like a dad. You can be a little tough at times. We love you, but you can be tough. As Mrs. Claus, would she rate me a little higher?
Well, she probably could advocate for you. We'll see.
Okay. I want to advocate for this for next year. The North Pole. So I love...
She does have my ear.
She does?
Yes.
Okay. So this is kind of like politics a little bit. So I need to make sure that we kind of...
I kind of try and stay out of politics.
Well, this is Santa politics.
Especially American politics.
No, we're talking Santa politics. We all want to stay out of those. We're better off if we do.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So...
But you should vote.
We should. So what about the North Pole? So in the Polar Express, it says there's a train. It shows us a train that gets there, and a few people get on it.
Right.
Do you really live in the North Pole?
Have you been to the North Pole?
I have not.
Well, if you come up, you'll see my castle. And, it's funny because my castle's there. And, the elves can't build everything. There are some things that we have to get, like when kids ask for iPhones, for instance, the elves don't make them. And that's why there's sometimes I got to tell kids that they can't have an iPhone because I just don't have enough of supply. I've been after Apple to move their plant up to the North Pole to make it easier for my distribution, but they haven't done that yet. But they are talking about putting a plant there. So when you come up, if you'll sign a petition to get them there, I'd really appreciate it.
Is that one of the top gifts on the list?
Oh, most definitely. But when I tell kids this too, though, when they ask for an iPhone, I always say, well, who gets the bill? It's a gift that keeps giving 12 months a year, and they're like, what? And they don't usually know. So most children don't have the concept of money, and they don't understand that, even though they get the present from Santa Claus, it's something that has to be paid for in order to use it.
So I touched on it earlier about bells. I'm going to ask it a little bit better and maybe. So it seems like you do such a good job in getting us to have faith and belief in something that isn't apparent and we don't see so much, to believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
We need help as humans when you're not around during the holiday and Christmas season to believe in a better life or believe in ourselves or believe in other human beings and believe in humanity. What can we do? What can be the analogy for you have your bells and we hear that bell, it means we can believe.
It means we can believe. It also has another meaning.
Yeah.
There's another movie out there where Clarence got his wings. which Clarence was an angel.
It's a wonderful life.
Right, it's a wonderful life. Every time the bells, you hear a bell ring, an angel got their wings. And if you can believe that, and you can believe in the magic of Christmas, well, then you're almost there.
You can believe in yourself.
You can believe in yourself.
That you can accomplish almost anything that you set your mind to.
Not almost. Everything. Everything. If you believe in yourself, you can. If you believe it, you can achieve it.
Wow, that's awesome. So what should we, I'm a normal human being that's trying to get on the nice list. I'm really trying hard here. So I want to ask Santa what I could do better after you leave today and you get back on your sleigh. What should I work on doing better? We talked about Toys for Tots, and we talked about if there's a family that is down and out or they don't have the same opportunity as others to prop them up and support them this time. What else can I do? What's the advice that Santa has for Mark? I know it's tough. It's a long list. It's like the list of the toys that I want that I'm probably not going to get, but because you just decide I don't deserve them this year. However,
I don't decide that.
You don't? I do.
You do.
Oof. Oh,
So-
August 3rd. I need to change August 3rd.
So let me throw this back at you.
Okay.
What do you think you need to do?
This goes back to, I think, the purpose of life. And I think the purpose of my life, and I'll try not to impose on others, but I think my job is to take everyone I have a chance to impact on a daily basis and just make their life better. I think that's my job.
Okay.
And so there's different roles we play in different people's lives. My nieces and nephews, maybe,
Exactly.
right? And so I think it's my job that if I have the opportunity to be in their space that they've welcomed me into, that for some reason I've come into their world, that I should do everything I can do to be more selfless than selfish. I think that's my job.
I would agree.
Okay.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take it a step further.
Okay.
If you're, not just you, but the people out here now, if you're walking through Walmart today and you see someone who's down in their luck, or they look unhappy, just walk up and say, Merry Christmas. Sometimes that's all it takes. Or if you see that they're really down, ask them, is there something you can do to help? You know, maybe they just need you to counsel with them for a minute. Maybe they need a little prayer. Maybe they need a little gift. It's all different. We're all different people. Like I said, it may just be that Merry Christmas, or just a moment you stopped and asked them, are you okay? That makes a difference in people's life. And that's what you kind of said there too, but you took it to a bigger level. I'm taking it down to minute. Mm-hmm. So as you're walking by someone, don't just walk by. Stop and say, how are you? Hey, it's good to see you. Or if you go to a party, walk around and say, hey, I'm glad to see you. I haven't seen you in a year. Because there's a lot of people like that, and people just like to be recognized.
Hey, Santa. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mark.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. He hit it. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I made the nice.
He made the nice
I made
list.
the nice list.
Wow.
Okay, I can't wait until just that I'm there. It's been so long. Here's the message. Here's the moral to this story. No matter what happens to you at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, towards the end of the year, you make a comeback.
You can do that.
Right?
You can do that.
You got to focus. You got to work hard. You got to go all in. You have to put substantial effort. You got to surround yourself with good people.
Definitely.
Right? And you can change in a very short period.
You can change the world.
Right? In a very short period of time. Impact the people around you, and who knows what they're capable of doing themselves.
Exactly.
Thank you for visiting us. We know you're busy. Hermie, let me tell you something. You know, if he was here, I know he's waiting up there and getting things fired up on the
He
sleigh.
can hear you.
Okay. Hermie, we don't have time for any more siesta key excursions, because what someone whispered in my ear a few minutes ago, he told you it was an accident. It wasn't. He decided he needed to make a pit stop on the beach. He was tired of the weather in the Arctic Circle.
Well, you know what? Thank you, Hermie. Thank you.
Well, Santa, thank you for coming in. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.